you are okay the way you are. There is a world out there that accepts me. I grew up as a very insecure child. That's a thing that's very prominent in our communities. And I had to work on that.
Welcome everyone. Welkom. Dumelang age. I hope I'm saying that right. You are in the studio with me, your host Natasha Malan, and my co-host Flo Wellington. Hashtag leveling up is up to you. So in our second episode, we were talking about going from insecure to becoming unstoppable. But then you said, let's go a little bit deeper in our next episode. Let's pose the question of what makes us feel insecure? Who makes us feel insecure? And how do we deal with that insecurity? Do you maybe want to share something about that?
You know why I asked that question and why I feel that that is such an important aspect to moving from insecure to unstoppable? I grew up as a very insecure child. And that's a thing that's very prominent in our communities because, you are joked around with so much from your teachers, from your family, from, people who live in your neighborhood. You're teased about small little things. You maybe don't look like everybody else. You have a certain funny thing that you do. You like things that other kids don't like, because I was very arty. I used to read, I used to write. And that's not things that was very common amongst kids my age. So you're teased a lot about it. And obviously, when you're young, it's not looked at from a very positive angle. It's taken in as I'm different. I'm not like everyone else. And that gives you a sense of insecurity. For me, I had to really look at where do I see myself when I'm out of the situation? And do I want to hold that? Does it make me feel good? Do I feel better about myself? And I had to work on that year after year after year as I got older. And it got to the point where when I reached my, I think, early 20s, is where I really felt a sense of community in people who were like-minded.
Okay.
And once I started hanging around the arty kind of people, once I started meeting people from across the world who were into the same sort of things, when I started publishing my work, and then I realized there is a world out there that accepts me how I am. I may not fit into the mold that my community wants, but there are places where I find my community. And there are places that I can align myself with. And that is an important thing to move from that insecurity. When you are aligned with the right kind of people,
So important.
then the doors start opening for you. And then you start shedding those little things that pack on, that make you feel like you don't belong, or that imposter syndrome that we always talk about, that I'm good at this thing, but because for ever since when I was small, people said I shouldn't be doing that. I shouldn't be talking that way. I shouldn't be acting that way. That sort of little by little falls off because the right kind of people are in your life to encourage you, to motivate you, and then that internally also pushes you also beyond your limitation.
Wow. That is so powerful.
Thank you.
That is so powerful because I believe in your circle. Your circle is so important. Who you surround yourself with is absolutely important
Totally.
because that forms part, or that's a huge part that's a huge part that can make someone feel like you don't belong, or add on to your insecurity that you're already dealing with. So just a few notes that I've made. When we talk about being insecure, when we talk about certain situations or circumstances or things that can make us feel insecure. I have here past experiences, which you've just touched on, childhood trauma where you don't fit in, maybe bullying where they are teasing you, or failure, or just feeling embarrassed, feeling embarrassed of whatever it is. It can be your circumstances, it can be the way you are dressing, it can be the way you are speaking, it can be the way your family might look, your mom or your dad, any type of embarrassment. So past experiences play such a big role on how insecurity can shape or grow, because it's something that grows, right? You feed it. You feed it with self-negative thought. You feed it with self-negative talk, where you say, I'm not good enough.
Yep.
I don't fit in here. I am different. And for me, the part where you said, when you found a circle with like-minded people, then you saw, there's actually nothing wrong with me.
Right?
I don't need to be insecure. I don't need to feel a certain way because I didn't fit in at group A or how I grew up. But I'm actually excellent in what I'm doing.
Because now you are celebrated.
Yes.
Right? It's not to say that you have to create some sort of vanity around it, or now you have to be so overconfident that you are conceited or arrogant about it.
Yes.
But those small little things that made you insecure are now either attractive to other people, or it's celebrated in a way. You are seen as an interesting kind of person, because there's things that people do that may not be likable to other people, but when you are with the right people, it's the best kind of thing.
Wow. That's beautiful. Something I struggled with when I was younger is comparison. Yes. I used to compare myself with everyone and everything. And that made me feel like I am not good enough. It made me feel like, I don't even know, man. It made me feel unseen and unheard. And I think in the previous episode I was talking about, I always wanted to shrink when I get into a room. Because I would look at Flo and I'm thinking, wow, why can't I dress like that? Oh, wow, why can't I do that thing that way? I had a thing where I compare myself to my cousins, to my friends, and I always had this, I want to be better, I want to do better, I want to be like this, I want to be, just to find out, Natasha, you are okay the way you are. And I only found it out late in my 20s when I discovered my worth. My voice matters. My image is good enough. My talent is okay. It's good enough.
Yeah.
I had to go to a place of acceptance. I had to dig deep and go to a place where I'm accepting the whole full package of Natasha.
Beautiful.
I can never be Flo. I can learn from Flo. I can learn from the different books that we read, the different podcasts that we are listening to. There's a lot of people that inspire us and help us to become better and do better. But I can never be that person. And the moment you start getting comfortable with who you are, knowing your self-worth, and removing that comparison, it's life-changing. It's life-changing.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Another thing that another point that can make one feel insecure is a toxic relationship.
Oh, and don't we all know about those, hey? And you wish that you could say that you've never experienced it, but I mean, in some or other way, we have.
Yes. And I just wanted to add on by saying it can be a relationship, it can be through friendship, mom and child, dad and child, partnership. In all of those, you can at some point in your life, you will experience some toxicity.
Definitely.
Did I say that correct? Toxicity.
Toxicity.
English leaves me at times, but I try.
Toxicity.
Yeah, so toxic relationships, what are the things that we can look out for to guard ourselves, to know, you know what, when I go down this road, I'm gonna end up not myself again. Because we lose ourselves sometimes.
Sure.
And picking up and building those pieces all over again, it's not easy.
Somebody once said that how do you know that you are healed if you do not, or if you stay away from certain situations? Because there's this assumption that you need to be triggered in order to know if you are healed. And I don't fully agree with that.
Okay.
I don't think you should be putting yourself in positions or staying with a certain person or constantly being involved in situations or with people to trigger you deliberately to see if you are over a certain thing. I don't think it's necessary to constantly be triggered,
No,
because avoidance in itself is a manner of protection,
absolutely.
right? So let's say an example. In a situation where your parent is the toxic one, there's the assumption that because it's your parent, you cannot isolate yourself or you cannot remove yourself from this person. Whereas you should have the freedom and ability to do so. Yes, we love you as a parent or as a family member or as whomever, but I do not need to allow that into my life. You know,
Completely
you
agree.
live your life and I live mine, but I can choose what sort of things I allow in my life, what sort of things I allow in my home, what sort of things I allow even on my phone. You know, I don't need to be texting back and forth. I don't need to be arguing with you or I don't need to even respond. If that is going to put me in a position where I am compromising who I am, or I have to get to a certain level to now justify and explain and validate myself to you so you can feel okay with me. Whereas I'm okay with myself. I am enough as I am. I don't need to prove anything to anybody to make me feel better about myself. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Flo, you know, I'm the type of person, because of my past and the way I grew up, you know, I love hard. I can say that and I can get a knot in my throat because I know what I give, what I bring. I love hard on people. You will feel me when I'm in your life. I don't neglect. I don't disappear. I make sure to be present, right?
Sure.
And I'm that person that I will go beyond certain boundaries when it comes to certain people. You know, I will break certain rules. That's how hard I love. But with that said, if for any reason you are disturbing my peace,
Oh,
you are not adding value to me, you're causing pain, heartache, you want to destroy my character or take any of the good qualities that I know I have inside of me, you want to remove any of that, I can cut you off easily.
easily.
I know it's not a good thing to say, but I'm that person.
It's
I will not allow you in this space ever again. It's my way of protecting myself. And we're going back to circles. I believe in being in a circle where I'm elevated, where I'm valued, where I'm respected, because I give that.
true.
I give that. So if for any other, you know, and it won't disturb my sleep.
Of course not.
It will not disturb my sleep. If I cut you off, you are out.
And people love that, hey? They want to know that they are causing you sleepless nights.
No.
No, it's
I
not
am
happening.
that person. So toxic relationships is a whole different topic to actually go into. you know?
Next episode.
Next episode. Because there's so many layers that you can unpack when it comes to being in a toxic relationship, you know? And we as individuals, I want to say that now we're still learning. We learn every day, right?
Sure.
But you have done so much groundwork. You have done so much self-reflection and personal mastery, and you know what your worth is. I feel like that's the important thing, knowing your worth. I am not going to allow you to come in and disturb it.
100%.
Yeah. As I've said, for me, feeling insecure can come from a lot of different things. It can come from family. It can come from how you were brought up. It can come from being in a toxic relationship. It can come from not being accepted or valued. You are laughing. Guys, I keep on telling you English leaves me.
We've been saying.
Want as ek nou met Afrikaans gepraat het, nee, dan sê ek waar ek geaanvaar word.
Ja.
Jy weet?
Sê dit soos dit is.
Ja. Maar there is so many different elements to feeling insecure. But the big question is, what makes you feel insecure? And how did you overcome that insecurity? You are more than welcome to leave your comment in our comment section. We will have a look at it. And we can dig into it maybe in the next episode or the following one. We'll see how it goes. But for me, it's big. It's big. And I would love to hear what the viewers and the listeners, how they
share
feel
with us.
Yeah, how they feel about it. Do they have a different view from how we feel? Because we learn from each other, right?
True.
We can learn from so many different people's opinions and what they've went through and their shared stories. Yeah.